Hi, Analisa Six here with the Lady of Leisure and the Sober Curator to bring you the horoscope for Aries for the month of August 2023. I am starting these horoscopes on August 8th, so we're already about a week into August, and I just got a pretty intense diagnosis after 3 years of waiting for health insurance. And so I'm in a weird space right now doing these horoscopes because I really want to do them, but doing them takes a lot out of me. And now I feel very validated. Why? Because of my diagnosis. And it's making it, I feel kind of still in a state of shock, even though I knew that this was most likely what I was going to get diagnosed with. And it's making my brain kind of in this place of just not really able to move through my life the same way when I didn't know for sure. I think that I'll get there, like I'll get to a point where I'm feeling back kind of to where I was optimistic and kind of in this other space of like, well, I don't really know, so it's fine. But I think it's kind of like when somebody says this is what's happening to you and then you read a bunch of stuff about it. I thought I saw like a weird bug, but I think it's just a shadow from something outside. Yeah, when you read about the things that you're supposed to be kind of watching out for as you progress with this illness, it's scary. Like it's just not very easy for me to wrap my head around all the way yet. So yeah, anyways, I'm just going to be a little out of it. While I do these videos, and I'm also going to try to keep the videos much shorter than I normally do because of the fact that I don't feel good and these take a lot out of me, and I would like to get as many done today as I can. So Aries, we're talking about you today, and there's a lot going on this month astrologically, so I'm really just going to hit on the highlights, and then I urge you to get a reading with an astrologer if this is something that you want to go deeper in. I'm not doing readings anymore for people because of my health issues, but someday I'm hoping that I could start doing a few every month. But I have referrals if anybody needs a referral. So we start out August. So if we go back to the beginning of August, we started out the month with Mercury in Virgo, Venus retrograde in Leo, Mars in Virgo, Jupiter in Taurus, Saturn retrograde in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. One of the things that happened early on in the month was that we had on August 1st a full moon in Aquarius, and that full moon hit at, let's see, now that it's over, I don't remember, it hit at 9 degrees of Aquarius on the 1st. And the area of the chart for the Aries individual that was hitting was the area that has to do with our community and the groups that we associate ourselves with. And the full moon has a lot to do with things that we want to manifest or call into our lives, as well as things that we want to release and let go. So if you've been in a state of reflection in early August around the 1st, around your community, the groups that you associate yourself with, the friendship circles that you have, and feeling like there needs to be some kind of shift of energy or feeling that shift within yourself about those things, that full moon was highlighting that area for you. So if you felt like there was people in your life that you're kind of done with, ready to move on from, that was a big theme. If you feel like you need to call in or manifest more community into your life, that's a big theme. If you have a lot of people in your life that you're enjoying, like you enjoy your community, you're grateful for it, just being grateful and wanting to cultivate more of that community was also a theme for Aries. Mercury and Mars being in Virgo is hitting the area of the chart that has to do with health for you and also of how you're of service to people. So at the beginning of the month, there is a big theme around community, how you're of service to your community, energy expenditure around that. And in Virgo, in this specific area of the chart, it also has to do with our digestion. And so there's something about your digestion that is really important to pay attention to. Mars passing through here can make you more sensitive to certain things in terms of what you're putting in your body. Mercury, it's a really positive time with Mars and Mercury here to be more health conscious. getting on a routine that's, you know, kind of getting you more into alignment with what you're feeling for your health. The sun and Venus are passing through the area of the chart that has to do with creative self-expression. It's the Leo part of the chart, and it also has to do with where we find joy, how we cultivate joy in our lives, how we feel connected to our inner child in a joyful way. It's kind of like the play area of the chart. And with Venus retrograde here for the month of August, you're going to be reflecting a lot on what brings you joy, what brings you a sense of fulfillment around your creative self, your creative self-expression, and also what you need romantically and what kind of makes you feel a passion for life. And when Venus is retrograde, Venus is the symbol that represents money, relationships, romantic relationships, but also best friends, friendships, that kind of thing. There is an emphasis on romantic relationships though. And then also aesthetics, beauty, you know, how we decorate ourselves or our space. There's kind of like a connection to art, things like that. And when it's retrograde, we might, you know, retrograde is reflect, review, reassess. And so we might be in a period where we're reflecting, reviewing, reassessing what drives us creatively, what fulfills us romantically and creatively. If we're in a relationship with somebody, there might be a lot of things coming up in the relationship around those themes. How do we fill each other's cup? What makes us feel that kind of passion in our relationship romantically again? And, you know, Venus retrograde sometimes in a similar way as Mercury retrograde, we might feel like we're reflecting a lot on the past and feeling really nostalgic about things from the past, and then also trying to reconcile who we are in the present in relation to the past. That's really common during retrograde cycles. So if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling like you're reflecting on the past a lot and kind of past things that brought you joy, and, you know, things that you're kind of romanticizing, it's really common to romanticize things from the past during a retrograde. It's important that you ask yourself, well, why are you romanticizing something that already happened? And is there a way to create things in the present and moving forward that give you that lust for life? And I think one of the big things I feel like I've learned through my own spiritual process is how easy it is to look back at the past in a way that, and remember it better than it actually was, right? And it's really important when we're in the present moment to remind ourselves that this could be a moment or a time where our future self is also reflecting on this moment in that way. And so it's important that we're being present and remembering to have reverence and joy for the people, the places, the things that we're doing now, because this moment now is going to be something that we reflect on later and go, wasn't that so great? Didn't I look so great back then? Even though at the time you probably didn't feel that way. I do that a lot during Venus retrograde, and it's really frustrating for me because I'll be like, God, I really didn't feel good during that time, but now here I am reminiscing about it. So Venus retrograde, especially in Leo and in an area of the chart that has to do with our creative process, is a really positive time to find ways to create that feeling and that fulfillment in the now and moving forward. Venus is going to be in Leo retrograde for the whole month. Mars and Mercury are going to be in Virgo almost the entire month. Mercury is going to stay in Virgo the whole month of August and station retrograde on the 23rd, I believe. Let me double check on that date. Yeah, the sun enters Virgo on the 23rd, and then Mercury stations retrograde on the 23rd as well. So again, that's going to be in the area of the chart for Aries that has to do with your health and how you're of service. The other thing about the Virgo energy and where it is in the Aries chart is that this is a really positive time to put structure and organization to your daily routine. And so if you've been feeling like you're not really locking down a routine, or you've been kind of, you know, all over the place and you're feeling like you need to hone everything in, Mercury retrograde, sorry, not retrograde, Mercury in Virgo and the sun in Virgo in this area of the chart is really helpful for that. However, the retrograde period might kind of dismantle some of those structures or routines that you're trying to put into place. So you might have to reflect, review, reassess, and, you know, kind of see what you could be doing differently that works better. Mercury is going to be retrograde until the middle of September, and Venus is going to be retrograde until the beginning of September. So August is a pretty rocky month for a lot of us, just because there's a lot going on in that way that is turbulent. Venus also makes a really harmonious aspect to Aries. Fire likes fire. And so the identity and kind of reflecting on your identity and who you are is also a big theme during this time period, during August. So if you're feeling like you're needing a change, or you're feeling like your identity is feeling triggered, or, you know, like sometimes when we kind of just get sick of who we are and we feel like we need to redefine ourselves or do something different to kind of mark a new chapter in life, that is really prominent for a lot of the fire signs, the fixed signs during this time, because Venus will be making these aspects to the solar energy, and you know, having us, you know, kind of reassessing, am I who I want to be in my life right now, if that makes sense. There's a lot of energy that I talk about in the astrology forecast with the outer planets that's happening. So if you want to get more in depth on each transit, I recommend you reading the astrology forecast. Sorry, not reading it, watching the astrology forecast on YouTube, because I go more in depth on each transit and kind of the vibe for this month. But I think for Aries, this is a time where it's really positive for you to focus on your health, focus on routines that promote good health. It's also a really positive time for you to do creative things and things that bring you joy and kind of get you out of the mundane, because you're, you know, that Venus energy really needs it. And also be okay with letting certain things go that may not, you know, be of service to you in the new self that you're trying to cultivate moving forward. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is that we've got 2 more moons that are happening in August. So on August 16th, we have a new moon in Leo at 23 degrees. That new moon in Leo is happening in that area of the chart that has to do with creativity and self-expression. So this is a really good time to set intentions around what it is you want to manifest for yourself when it comes to your creative life, and just self-expression. Even if you don't see yourself as a creative person, the way you express yourself comes from that same kind of frequency of creativity where it's more playful. So even if it's just, you know, you having more fun with how you get dressed in the morning, or going out and doing things with friends that kind of creates more of this playful energy, if those are things like joy, you know, if you need to cultivate more joy in your life, more playfulness, this new moon is a really positive time for you to set intentions towards that. The last moon that we have of August is a full moon at 7 degrees of Pisces that happens on August 30th. And the area of the chart that this is hitting is the area that has to do with the subconscious and healing things from the past and the subconscious. And full moons, again, are a great time for releasing. Your dreams are going to be super enhanced during this time, because it's also hitting the area of the chart that has to do with our dream life, our dream world. You might have a hard time sleeping if you're not working through the subconscious or the deeper parts. So August 30th is interesting. It's definitely an opportunity for you to do some deep healing work, some spiritual work. And it's a good time for us to kind of all go inward and have more personal reflection on who we are, what we want to do, you know, in our lives from a deeper place, not necessarily just externally, but moving forward in terms of our, internal process, I guess. The subconscious area of the chart is really interesting because it can manifest in ways that are really unhealthy. Like we can be more prone to wanting to escape through substances or in modalities that, you know, have us kind of avoiding real life. But if we're doing things that are healing for the subconscious, modalities of therapy or meditation, sometimes those things can help us feel more grounded or bring, you know, more ease into what we're dealing with in the external. So, you know, it's up to you on how you utilize that energy. Spiritual practices can be really positive, but if you're not somebody that really feels called to meditate or do certain things in that way during that time, even just leaning into artistic projects or music, things like that, that kind of connect you to that sense of self on a deeper level is positive for that full moon. All right, Aries, that's your horoscope. I'm trying to keep them short. I hope you have a great August. It's going to be a little rocky for all of us. We're all trying to get through it. And I will see you guys next month.